here is the Ramblin' Hillbilly. How the hell are y'all today? Weather. It's rainy, it's cold, it's been raining all night, it's been windy, well, I don't know if it's not so, it's kind of cold. So I got a couple of Mexican, Flexeril. I think I've just, did you hear that sound? I seem to have lost my, Fire TV remote quite a long time ago. I mean, I looked under the couch, in between the cushions, that I could get everything, right? Anyway, it must have migrated to somewhere, because every time I sat down, it would come on. And I kept getting this low battery thing, and I'm like, this is a brand new battery in my remote. What the fuck? Well, I have discovered on several occasions that I can't reach it wherever it's at. I'm going to have to do some acrobatics. But every time I sit down now, and I sit down kind of hard, the Fire TV remote, I'm waiting for it to die. It's been popping up for, I don't know how long now. Low battery, please exchange. And I was blaming the other batteries, the other remote. Anyway, ramble. So, it's a shitty day outside. I certainly wish I had the day off. Because it's a good day to sit inside and read. I know, most of you don't read anymore. So, we haven't done the Ramblin' Hillbilly recommended reading list. Okay, this has been out for several years, okay? And I know, I'm not even going to argue about the author, because he's actually, you need to read his shit, okay? Just don't listen to the press or whatever they say about him, okay? Anyway. I put my glasses on. Oh, yeah. Dinesh D'Souza, America. Imagine a world without her. Now, I read the book. I saw the documentary. I would rather always read the book. Okay? Because there's a lot more information in it. They can't put all that in the documentary for it, because it would be too long. But if you just want to watch it, I think it's on Prime or Netflix. Blah, I think it's on Prime. Okay? All of his documentaries are extremely good. Okay? All of his books that the documentaries are made of are better. So, that's number one. And I might put my glasses on for this. Hold on. I haven't been wearing my glasses because of see the reflection in my theater, in my studio lighting. I'm almost done with it. I could probably read it finish it in 20 minutes or something. But it's called Today is Sunday by Dennis Ely. Okay. A trauma on his 15th birthday would ruin an otherwise ideal childhood. When his draft notice finally came, he chose to do his duty, even though he was encouraged not to go by friends and family. He struggled to reconcile his spiritual beliefs with his country's need to wage war. A vision is basic training sent him to flight school and out of ground combat. His hours flying combat helicopters and air cavalry troop to support of troops on the ground showed this dedication he felt for his comrades. Fellow helicopters flying medical evac risked their lives to save the injured on the ground, including a little Vietnamese girl injured in a minefield explosion. He worked as a chaplain's assistant while recovering from a helicopter crash. Strengthened his faith, and untimely romance kept hope alive. Okay? Now, this author just happened to be my family Billy's neighbors growing up. I think Dennis is my Aunt Billy's age, a couple years younger than Mom. Oh, I feel a ramble coming on. Hold on. What the hell? This is nasty. I bought a bunch of Cubans, not a bunch, but when I go to the islands and stuff like that, I like to pick up some Cuban scars because I like a good scar every now and then. This one isn't one of the good ones. I got some really good ones that are, I like the tinier ones. I don't like a big dog turd hanging out my freaking mouth. Anyway. Back in the day, this guy, Dennis Ely, was, like I said, my family's neighbor. And he was my Aunt Billy's age. And my other Aunt Billy was a couple years younger. And then a couple years younger was my Uncle Billy. Okay? So, when I was born and growing up and stuff, I got left at Grandma's house a lot. And besides, you had free babysitters because Aunt Billy's were like 17 and 15 or something like that when I was born. Uncle Billy was 10. So, I remember all their friends stopping by and the things he discussed. And there's a picture of the church we used to go to. And he used to be in the choir, so I used to, have to go to choir practice with Mom. And I'd be running around the church like a fucking idiot. Nobody ever said anything, at least because I was kind of quiet about it. And I would sneak a peek, because I always kind of thought Denny was a cool dude, and I didn't understand why, because I was just little. And there was a woman in the choir that I was drawn to. And at that age, it wasn't, of course, a sexual thing. It was an aura about them. And if I could remember who that was, maybe it would make sense. But you understand, Dennis Ely was one of the guys that I would kind of sneak a peek at. Okay. Well, fucking hero shit, let me tell you what. Maybe that's what I saw. Okay. And so, anyway, I remember him coming to church in his uniform. I remember him stopping by the grandma's house in his uniform. And the guys that he talks about, I think he says he's not using real names, because in the book he goes by his mother's maiden name, Mater. Okay? But I swear it's the same guys with the same name that used to stop by and see my aunts and stuff. I remember he used to like come down and help Uncle Tommy out in the field, or Uncle Tommy was out in the fields. Yeah, because I would have been, I don't know, Uncle Tommy had been a teenager then, on 15, 16. I was 5 or 6 or younger. You know, I'm thinking it was the 60s, I'm saying. And I remember every now and then the tragedy he's talking about. uh Read the book or message me and I'll tell you. I remember it happened long before I was born, but it was one of those local things that was so tragic that you kind of always talk about it. You know what I mean? It comes up sometimes. And so I remember the family talking about it, but I didn't realize, because I was just, when listening to conversations, I learned a lot. I remember a lot about what you guys talked about. I, I was like a little tape recorder in my brain back then. Unfortunately, I can't remember what I did last week. And as my memory fades, I guess what it is first in, or last in is first out. Let's put it that way. I remember the 60s like it was yesterday. I can't remember shit from like 90s and the 80s might be a wash soon. Anyway, so yeah, that Jesus, hold on. See, if you want to know what that, I tried to scrape the wallpaper off of this house in this room a long time ago before I almost died. And they didn't believe in taking the old wallpaper off back in the 1900s and 50s and 60s and such. Because I think this is the 60s stuff that you see. But underneath that shit is about 4 or 5 more layers. And it's a bitch to get off. They should bring whatever glue they fucking used back in the day back, because that shit works. Okay? And then there was some stuff you can see interesting marks on it. Sorry, I went on a ramble here. But some of the older stuff has, it says something like sunproof, something there. But this was like I said, this stuff is the 60s, and that was a couple layers down. So Lord knows what era that was from. But it's hard as a bitch to get off. So with pending replacements in both shoulders, whenever I give the go-ahead, which will be a long time because I ain't doing that shit again. Not for a while. Because, A, I have good insurance, but it wasn't free. How much do you think a complete knee replacement and all that rehab and shit cost? So it's time for the injections, which this last time lasted a good 3 years. So it wasn't the gel injection, just regular cortisone. They must have hit the right spot the last time. Anyway, so with pending issues and all my body parts, and I forgot where the fuck I was going. Good Lord. Like I said, I wish I had the day off. it's raining. I could finish that book. I could take it. It's that perfect kind of day. Okay, but anyway. Oh, I've got a Billy board today because people are like, love your rambles, but sometimes you don't go back, and I know that. I should have an episode kind of edit the rest of the story. Anyway, let's stop happy stuff. I don't watch the NBA anymore because it's all about the money and all about your social justice warrior projects and all about this and all about that. Play the fucking game. Jesus. Be there for your teammates. Fuck you. Anyway, I'm sorry, it almost came back to me. Anyway, I'm rocking the Sacramento Kings jersey or the sweatshirt today. Why, some of you who don't know me, why on earth are you wearing a Sacramento Kings jersey? Buckeye born and raised? What the fuck? Well, let me give you a little history ramble. See, people like happy stories because I got some shit that'll probably get me thrown off of here. So let's just have fun for a minute. When Kansas City was going to sell the Sacramento Kings, a group got together and bought, a group from Sacramento got a group together and bought the Kansas City Kings. But in order to move them there, they had to have an NBA approved type arena, which would take years upon years to build or whatever, and get zoned and all that. Well, they had a spot, which they were building on, which became Arco Arena, but the original Arco Arena was this huge warehouse that they built stands into with the hardwood and plywood planks for risers on the steps. That's why people hated to come and play there, because we'd stomp on those floors and it would get loud in there. And what's cool is I got a plaque on some big anniversary of the Kings being in Sacramento, because I put in for season tickets before they were actually approved officially to get on the waiting list. So I had season tickets and I got this plaque that says, original member, Kings crowd, loud and proud, 10,333. And we all got to know each other real well. And well, most of us still sat together in the new arena, but on the last game there, we all just hung out, hugging, drinking. Good memories in that building, even though the Kings sucked. As a matter of fact, the first year, and I was still in the Air Force. The first year, I went to 40 of 42 home games. Sold the other 2 games for enough money to pay for one whole season ticket. Cha-ching. But I would have given every dollar of that back, because one of those was, I believe the the teams that only come to town once, the East Coast teams, and one was the Sixers game with Dr. J. Even though I've got on his farewell tour, I didn't sell that one. No way. I've got an autograph, something or another, Dr. J, in my locked up stuff. Anyway, and the other one was Larry Bird and the Celtics, when they were fucking unstoppable and shit. We went to a local sports bar at American River and Winding Way. Is that what the fuck it is? Can't remember. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Up there on the hill before you get to the river. Sorry, I'm giving directions to Sacramento. Sorry, guys. Anyway, the Kings beat them that night, and that place was going ape shit. And I was like, son of a bitch, I'd have given any amount of money to be there. And they left the bartenders at the same place all year long, right? And I was always a, good tipper or whatever, or a tipper. And the last game, I went down to buy my beer, and both bartenders said, "Nah, tonight's on us." Oh, I got tanked. Good thing I wasn't drunk. Free beer! Well, it wasn't actually free, but it kind of was. Anyway. So, the price kept going up, and the price kept going up, and they sucked for so long. Finally, I couldn't afford them by myself, so I had to offer up, splitting the damn things, which is a pain in the ass, because, everybody wanted to see the same East Coast teams, right? And then finally, I couldn't find anybody who wanted a share of season tickets anymore. Okay, they just sucked so bad. Now, they were still selling out games because we were there, and they sucked. See, I bounced up and down.
Here you go.
Oh, dude. See, I bounce up and down. See, I told you I'm sitting on a remote. Usually she can't understand me. Anyway, well, I finally had to give them up because I couldn't afford them by myself. And then they started getting good. And they got more expensive, and they outpriced the original fans and gave all the season tickets with money, with people with money in the area, the fair weather friends. And see what happened after, I forget how many hundreds of consecutive sellouts they had. There's nobody there watching them, but this year they're good again. Or they're getting good. They'll be in the playoffs. Now, I used to couldn't tell you who was on their roster. And I know I checked him out every now and then. I don't get to see him play very often. But I hope they do well. The city of Sacramento fans deserve it. See what I'm saying? They have supported that team through thick and thin, except for how when they outpriced the original people, you dumb fucks. Look what happened when you sucked again. Those people bolted. Anyway, I spent a lot of time at Arco Arena. Another little ramble. But why do you love me? Because I am the Rambler and the Hillbilly. Anyway, about Arco Arena and fun stuff. I spent every night for a week there. Once, the Kings had a 4-game homestand, 2 concerts, and a tennis match. It was a long week. Anyway. So anyway, the mascot was doing something. I caught a glimpse of him. His name's Slamson. And he's a lion, because lion, royalty, yeah. Because for the longest time, when the Kings came to Sacramento, we didn't have like a mascot. Know what I mean? And if you're wondering, there is the Ohio connection with Sacramento Kings. They came from Kansas City. But where were they before they were located in Kansas City? The Kansas City Royals, right? They used to be the Cincinnati Royals with big Oscar Robertson. So they were based in Ohio at one time. So there you go. Anyway, Slamson the Lion. Now, this is... I seriously doubt if it's the same dude. Not with the shit that he does. But the original dude, they were having some kind of mascot competition. And this dude got permission to zip line from Half Dome to down to across the valley, down to some hill, or across the valley to the other side of the mountain, which if you've ever been to Yosemite, Half Dome sits right out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Okay, there's just like a 3,000 foot, 4,000 foot valley around it, okay? In full mascot Slamson gear, zip-lined across the valley at Yosemite. Yes, he won the contest. I guess they call him Slammy now. Oh, but anyway, but in the beginning, sorry I rambled onto this, but the Kings didn't really have their own, because they went from the Royals to the Kings. And so when they started out, they started bringing out the mascots. Some of the bigger NBA teams had some pretty cool mascots, right? Like the Phoenix Gorilla would show up for games, and Crazy George, and I can't remember what fucking team he was from, but he was baldish, long hair, held a drum, went around screaming, get the crowd fired up. Anyway. Another ramble. I have scored 3 points on that NBA floor. Well, it doesn't exist anymore. They tore it down. Well, the old place and the new place, back when they did cool stuff like this, every now and then they would have the ladies come down and line up at halftime and shoot free throws for gift certificates. And they were no joke gift certificates. It was $30 to Rayleigh's or $30 gift certificate to Liquor Barn. Guess where I used mine. Anyway, so I always made sure I went and got in there, so I made sure I got a shot. Well, they used to let you shoot one at a time, but very few. Oh, that's funny. One of my memory pictures popped up, and it's me holding a beer at a concert at Arco Arena. That's funny. Anyway. Oh, God. Anyway. So, just to speed it up, they did 2 at a time. I want you to know I would have been perfect had it not been for that twofer situation. I was trying to wait kind of in between. First, we were off center because they were doing two lines at once. I was trying to wait in between people so I could get a clean shot at it. And I fucking launched it, and this bitch just came up and chest passed, launches it at the basket. It knocks my dinger out. Bitch. So I was 3 for 4 from an NBA court. That's a true story. They don't do fun shit like that anymore. Why not? Anyway, well, that's enough of that. You didn't really want to watch me ramble about the NBA. I'm just kind of going, woohoo, Kings are doing well. And they're young and they're hungry and they have a good coach. Anyway, so I had a thought. Watch out. Anyway. So. Oh, one more little fun tidbit before I get to this shit that might kick me off. Okay. Our beloved, Jose Pincho Taco, he was so adorable. I miss him. He got killed in California. He was a cool cat. Anyway. Sorry, when my Alexa went off. Here, hold on a minute. Oh, shit. Okay. There we go. I better not move around too hard. I'll set it off. This is too funny. What else they listen to me do up here? Anyway. Oh, God. Sam Brinton. Is that his name? That nuclear dude that steals women's luggage? Apparently, this must have been a thing for him for years because this fashion designer in India lost some luggage in Houston or somewhere a couple of years back, and they never did find it. But all of a sudden, he's showing up at all these functions. He's wearing her shit. She's got a picture of her wearing the same shit. That is one sick motherfucker. Oh my God, and he was in charge of our nuclear waste. There's what happened for your diversity hire, people. How many people could he kill? Fuck. Anyway. How about our world is going to shit? How about our country's infrastructure is falling apart? And all you people that call me a conspiracy theory about the airport thing, pay attention. Just this week alone, there have been 5 near misses and 1 very almost tragic things that appear to be almost air traffic control related. 5 this week. Now, air traffic control has been doing the diversity hire shit for a long time. Tucker called it out years ago. Well, apparently the air traffic controllers aren't quite up to snuff these days. And a whole lot of other things. What about your mechanics? I know I've gone on about this, but now merit does not matter. And it needs to. Okay? How much more are we going to give to that little motherfucker in Ukraine? Do you listen to his speeches? Do you hear how he demands that we give him this and that and pay for this and that, and wants NATO to pay for the complete reconstruction of his country, which will be like $365 billion. Do you see the scam? Plus, don't forget, the globalists win no matter which side wins a war. Both sides suffer. They don't give a shit about you and me and our kids and our family members or those who go to fight. They win both ways. They're selling arms and everything else to both sides. And you know how long they let it slip, how long they want this shit to go on. Someone asked somebody, I'm not sure who it was, when those M1 Abram tanks that we promised the Ukrainians, when would they be delivered? And the answer was, well, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe a year and a half. Now, you tell me, this whole thing is not real, so to speak. This guy's meeting celebrities and heads of state. And doing photo shoots for Vogue. Meeting his coke dealer. We have nobody watching where this money's going. Yellen was just over there promising $2 billion more. What could we do with that money? Could we fix our bridges and rail systems and highways and maybe really have high-speed rail like the Japanese have had for years? Not like we didn't have the technology. Hint, hint. Anyway, then he said something about you're going to send your sons and daughters over here to war, or send them over here to die, or whatever, or else, bullshit. Who is this little motherfucker? He is an actor, a comedian, not a very good actor, just a comedian. Look at some of his stuff. He pretty much likes to be almost nude in all of his skits. Now he's worth $1.2 billion, has a $30 million mansion in Florida, has 30 other properties scattered all around, and fucking herds of cars. Come on, dude. Where's that money we sending going? And you wonder why Hunter's business dealings in Ukraine are so important. And you wonder why years ago that Joe bragged about getting a prosecutor fired who was coming after his kids' business partners. We're not going to give you the $1 billion, he said, unless the prosecutor's fired. I'm leaving here in about 6 hours. The prosecutor isn't fired. You don't get the $1 billion. The president of the country says. The president said, Biden says, call him You're not getting the billion unless the prosecutor's fired. Well, son of a bitch, prosecutor got fired. Now, you tell me, that's on video, my God. And you do know Zelensky banned some religion, forget which one, in his country, right? What's that sound like? Ukraine has the Bidens by the balls, and he's going to give them everything they want. He's got them all by the balls because you know they all got their cut. Money laundering right in front of your eyes. And actually, when we do send Ukraine arms and things like that, we're not producing new armament. We're sending them our stash, by the way. Someone in the know said it'll take to 2030 to replace all the arms and shit of our own stash that we have given to Ukraine and given to whatever fucking country we're trying to start shit in, which is what the World Economic Forum and NATO and the New World Order and all those motherfuckers want. War makes money, and it's a good population control tool. But you think things are getting kind of iffy or bad. You ain't seen shit yet. I don't think the chaos has hit the shit, hit her shit to hit her, whatever. Pay attention to the dwindling supplies in your local stores. If you go to the Marine app, which shows you ships and their position and all that stuff, go look off the coast of China. There are tens of thousands of dead ships, so to speak, sitting out there, not in use, that used to go to the United States back and forth. And the ones you see leaving in and around China are going everywhere else but here. And they're supplying themselves. Pay attention. Remember, we get 90% of our medications from there. What the fuck, people? Wake up. Anyway. Oh, got a headache. Shit makes me mental. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay, there's these big arguments going on about banning drag shows or whatever. I don't think they're banning drag shows. I think they're banning children from drag shows. Because the family-friendly version has not been so family-friendly. There's a lot of nudity. There's a lot of sexual gyrations. not family stuff. So I almost thought this was kind of a law anyway. If you're an alcohol-only establishment, are you allowed to bring your kids in there if you don't serve food? A place where they serve alcohol? And I'm not talking like hot plates and shit at noon. I'm talking a real kitchen and stuff with alcohol. That would be exempt. But maybe children under the age of 18, and then why would an 18-year-old want to come in there? Because they can't drink, but then again, they could come in and enjoy the show. Those under 18 are not allowed in an establishment that sells only liquor. All right, and if there's a drag show and a parent drags their kid there, then you take the parent to jail. Okay. I mean, what if strip clubs started having like family-friendly Fridays? And a lot of them have food. What would people think? I love my drag shows. But the shit is not for kids. First of all, I don't, in my opinion, I strayed from my Billy board. Watch out. You see where it's pushing an agenda. And I'll tell you what, most drag queens that I know don't live their regular lives as their character. They don't put on all their garb to go to Kroger. Well, we want kids to recognize if they see drag queens. Well, where are they going to see them other than a fucking bar that their parents take them to? Stop it. It's on the parents. Okay? And if the establishment promotes it as family friendly and all they serve is alcohol, then that should be a no-no. You know what I'm saying? It's not coming after a specific group. It's coming after everybody that's trying to sexualize these kids. Have any of you read any, like, Marxist theory or communist stuff or anything like that? They use the same playbook every time. And the communists have been saying for years, you can't take the United States from the outside. They're too powerful. But you can destroy it from the inside. There was a KGB defector, and I want to say this was in the 80s. This interview took place, and he spilled it all out. You can get control of the children, change the culture, change everything, then you don't have free-thinking citizens. You have a bunch of warped social justice warrior people with no purpose, expecting to get free shit. Now, this time, they've chosen the LGBT community to hijack. Now, think about it this way. These same people who were around in the 60s are still in political positions. And what movement did they use in the 60s to advance their communist Marxist bullshit? The civil rights movement, right? Most of the Weather Underground, look them up. And the reason I remember all this so well is I was reading the newspaper when I was 6 years old. Okay. In the late 60s and 70s and maybe into the early 80s, the Weathermen caused a bunch of death and destruction trying to overthrow the government. You need to watch the documentary on iPod 1776 on Rumble, because he was one of the first to go on YouTube after he finished his Weatherman series. Weatherman 1, Weatherman 2, Weatherman 3. And he was permanently banned from YouTube. All the shit he said is factual. It's a documentary. Okay? Watch it. Because these same people are still in positions of power, or have power over the newer generation that they cultivated. See what I'm saying? Like, what is their background? Okay. Well, those people that killed and maimed and tried to overthrow the government, who the vast majority of were rich, white, well-educated kids. In fact, almost all of them. Privileged families, money. And this is what they chose to do to overthrow the government. Because they wanted a socialist state. And you ought to hear the chilling part where the guy talks about when they were having a meeting and they were talking about, well, when we get control of the government, how are we going to take care of the people? And he goes, and listening to them seriously talking about exterminating 300 million people was frightening. Think about that. Okay? Well, a lot of these people went to jail. The Brinks Armor car robbery, look that up. Well, it just so happens that that person and another person who was convicted of some terrorist activities then, they had a son. And why they were, they got life in prison or whatever. And Bill Ayers and his wife, Bernadine Dorn, the founders of the Weathermen, took this little boy in and adopted him. Now, this is where no one checked this dude's background. Okay? That young kid, raised by Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, was Chesa Bodine. Yeah, the DA in San Francisco that was so radical, he was too radical for them, and they axed his ass. That dude worked in Venezuela for years as an interpreter or something for whoever that crazy motherfucker was down there. Hello, he's a communist. One guy got like a scholarship to their school, and he remembers that the headmaster came in and the first day of school, and he said, "You no longer have to listen to your parents. We are your authority now," and walked out. Okay. It's all in the documentary. It's all true. But these people that didn't go to jail, or some of them have been pardoned by past presidents, so they've been out of jail. Imagine that. They're all in on all these issues now. As a matter of fact, the guy that built the school, Bill Ayers, who cultivated one Barry Soetoro, look it up, has been like on a board of the National Education something or another. He was like behind that Common Core horse shit. Okay? This guy, this communist, admitted communist, is in charge of your child's learning. Nobody's ever realized it, but it's gotten so, like I said, 45 put a 4-year hitch in their get along. Okay? They had a plan, a 16-year plan. So now they have to catch up. See what I'm saying? So you can see all the bullshit they're pulling. Like I said, you haven't seen the chaos yet. They need something, and something big. Because a lot of these people are going to go to jail, because you're going to see somebody get put in charge of where the fuck did all this Ukrainian money go shortly. Okay? I'm just saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to find something to arrest Trump on so he can't run. DeSantis, I'm not, like I said, you got to look into the background. Okay? And no, George Soros did not endorse him. If you watch the video, that guy's almost nearly dead. And he was reading from a script, and he talked about Ron DeSantis and Trump, about who was running for what. If you listen to the whole video and not just a blurb. God damn, people. You see how they do it? They get you to read one sentence or two or a headline, you go ape shit, blow your mind. If you see something, go, well, let me look into this. Well, that's not what that said. Do you see what I'm saying? People are running on emotions, and we need to come together and fight this monster that's trying to take us over, because it's happening soon. Okay? It wouldn't surprise me. Rumor has it, among the Indo community, that, now these rumors have been going around for a long time, that Vladimir Putin is seriously ill. Okay? Now, most of you would think, oh my God, he's gonna just push the button just because he's not gonna be around anymore. Oh, come on, how stupid could you be? Why would he do that? He's not that fucking crazy, okay? But what may happen is, he may die of whatever condition is wrong with him, but they may be setting this up as a foxtrot, saying that his own people poisoned him. They turned against him and poisoned him. Just an opinion. See what I'm saying? Oh, yes, and the other person who was big in the Weathermen in their offshoot, there was a Black Panther offshoot from the Weathermen. I can't remember their damn name now. And Angela Davis, big Black Party Panther member, 60s, 70s, did a lot of time in jail. She Now, this surprised me because it was a PBS show. Now, she really acts as if she didn't see this coming. It was a show called Find Your Roots, where they do your ancestry for you, really in depth and stuff. And so they've got Angela Davis, who's still fighting the fight at age, how old is she? 79, I think. She gets told that she is descended from the Pilgrims, the first 101 registered ones to come across on the Mayflower. Yeah, I know. Something deep inside of me said she's not happy about that. Now, you would think PBS going, shit, did we tell her or not? Do we get another guest on and do this one all over? We can't do this. Or did they go, let's put the truth out there and see what happens? So, Black Panther, Angela Davis, is an original Pilgrim. She was pretty speechless. Oh, yeah, I had a couple other people I watched the background. DeSantis is doing all the right things, but there's some people supporting him I don't trust. Okay? So, I'm not excited. Anyway, with that said, look at Pistol Pete Buttigieg. Our hero at the Department of Transportation. His father was a Marxist professor. And hold on. Julian and Julio Castro, Julian and Julio Castro, the one mayor or whatever he was, and the one congressman or whatever he was. Their parents were big-time elite members in the Chicano Communist Party. Did you know that? It's kind of interesting to look up the background of some of these people that are in charge of shit. They all seem to have some kind of a Marxist communist feel to it, or a connection. So now the communists and the socialists and stuff have hijacked the LGBTQIAA plus MOUSC motherfucking alphabet soup group and splintered the shit out of that group. And just using this to divide. One of their big playbook, is to destroy the nuclear family. Because if you're family oriented and you're neighborly oriented and town oriented and proud, and you're going to pick up and fight for each other. They don't want that. Okay? They don't want stable people. They want people that they can mind fuck. Okay? And with the trans thing, it's a pharmaceutical, medical, industrial complex pot of gold at the end of the fucking rainbow. Literally. You know what? I think back to when I was little, I would have little crushes on like older girls, but they weren't like a sexual thing. I was drawn to those people for a reason. But now they want to sexualize everything. Okay? What happened to love? Okay? I thought I was just really freaking weird until I heard something on Tim Pool the other day, and I'm like, shit, I'm not the only one. This is funny. You bull-dyke, man-hating lesbians out there. I hate that word, by the way. I didn't have a problem with dude. Really, sex didn't bother me. I did it because it was the thing to do. But what, like, excites me, so to speak, is love, passion, that feeling you get that makes your body tingle and all that when you have feelings. So, when you start sexualizing kids at 5 years old, they're going to think touching sexually is okay, which will lead to trouble. I would really like to know how many of you have actually sat down and talked to a serial child molester and have them spill out what they were thinking and feeling and shit. Interesting. I would like to talk to that dude right now. Because he would probably go, oh yeah, grooming. So, just the law, if there's not, it's not a law against drag shows. It's a law against taking children to drag shows, and people who take their kids to drag shows should be fined at least. Because unless you have an outside establishment with no alcohol and all of your queens are in like big frilly dresses and things non-sexual, go for it. If it's like a Disney production, fine. But none of them have been that way. They've all been sexual. Although I could get improper here because I did laugh. In one of the skits that was family friendly, a character was playing tits in a box. I guess kind of a takeoff on Dick in a Box. Have you ever seen that on Saturday Night Live? Andy's. Oh my God. Anyway, this is why it shouldn't have been family friendly, but the line is hilarious. Prosthetic breasts in a box, and walks over and looks down and going, oh, hello, how old are you? And the little one says 9. She says, you're 9? Why are you staring at my tits? Are you hungry? Ah! Okay, that was funny, but inappropriate as shit for a 9-year-old. Do you see what I'm saying? If you sexualize them for anything. You've really took the last of their innocence. Because I don't know the difference between love and just touching. Know what I mean? Anyway, so that's what I had to say about that. I know I rambled off of something. Oh, well, anyway. So, like I said, it's a rainy, cold, and crap day. Sit down, curl up with a good book. Drink some hot tea. I'm having some Kai Spice. And anyway, I think that's just about it. It went well over an hour. Sorry, dudes. You know what happens with the Billy. Anyway, this has been the Ramblin' Hillbilly, and I am